Whether this is your first week on Optavia, your 50th week on Optavia, like me, your first week back to Optavia after 2 years of being away, even if you're just curious and you have no idea what Optavia even is, stick around. I'm going to share with you what comes in your first month box, as well as a few useful tools that, from my own experience, I think are extremely helpful. Not necessary, but definitely helpful. And then I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about motivation and organization. So let's jump on in. Before I open up this box though, I would invite you, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that before. I have lots of information about Optavia. I did this program already over the course of 67 weeks from June of 2022 until September of 2023. So I have lots of experience, lots of videos. I have all of my reality checks in a playlist. I also have my Fun with Feelings videos in a playlist and a bunch of lean and green recipes, along with a whole bunch of other Optavia related videos, and a little bit of information at the end of this video about one of my most infamous Optavia videos. Besides subscribing, I will also invite you, please give this video a thumbs up whether you're subscribed or not. It really does help me. It helps my channel. By you liking my video, by you making comments, it helps my videos to get seen by more people, which is ultimately my goal. But let's jump into the box and see what I have. Because I've done Optavia before, I chose to not get the standard kit box. So what I did was I added the kit to my cart, and then I added a couple of other fueling boxes, and then I was able to start taking things out that I knew I didn't want and adding in things that I did want. And then I made sure that I ordered 24 boxes. That made sure that I have enough fuelings to get me through my first month. So I haven't opened this up yet. So hopefully everything is in here that I asked for. Take out the extra packing stuff. And I'm just gonna pull stuff out and show you each of the things that I got. There are 5 fueling times throughout the day. You eat 5 different fuelings, plus a lean and green. Typically the way I do it is I start my morning with something that's already pre-made, like a bar. Sometimes I would do crunchers, things like that. So I start with a bar. The next one I do is breakfast. And for me, I really like the oatmeal. You'll see that in just a minute. Lunch, I usually do soup, and I'll explain that one when I get there. In the afternoon, I will do shakes, but not necessarily as shakes. And if you've seen like my Fun with Fuelings, you kind of know how I combine things to make different fuelings. And then evening is usually a sweet treat before bed. So starting out with the bars, because they're on the top of the box, the peanut butter chocolate chip. This one's really chewy. If you are of my generation, so I'm 60, when I was a young kid, there was a bar that you could get called Tiger's Milk. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, but that's what this one reminds me of. It's a chewy peanut butter chocolate chip bar. And then this one is the chocolate mint cookie crisp bar. So it kind of tastes like a Girl Scout cookie, mint chocolate. And then my very favorite, I only got one this time, but I will get 2 boxes next month, I already know, the creamy double peanut butter crisp bar. Absolutely my favorite bar. I could probably eat 5 of these a day, like as my 5 fuelings, and be happy if I didn't think that I needed something salty and savory once in a while. So those 3 bars are there. I'm just gonna go with what's on the top instead of digging around in here. The next thing, I've got a chocolate shake. Actually, I've got 2 chocolate shakes in here, and I think I have some other shakes in here. Yeah, the box of the caramel macchiato shake. As I said, I don't do shakes as shakes. I will combine them with other fuelings just to kind of change the flavors of things. And I'll talk more about that. You can also look at my Fun with Fuelings videos and see how I have combined things together. As a matter of fact, if you would leave me a comment in the comments box below, if you've watched my Fun with Fuelings, which is the best one that you have seen and tried, and what is a fueling combo that you would like me to try, because let me tell you, I'm going to be back at that Fun with Fuelings again. All right, sweet treats at night. The decadent chocolate brownie is a great one. The chocolate fudge pudding, I absolutely love that chocolate pudding. I also got the golden butterscotch blondie, which is great. I have the chocolate chip cookie cake. I think this is different from when I did it before. We just had a chocolate chip cookie. It wasn't as a cake, so I'm looking forward to trying that one. And this is also a new one, the cinnamon roll cake. We used to have a different, can't even remember what it was called, but we had a different cinnamon cake kind of thing. So this one is a little bit different. I'm looking forward to giving this one a try and also having fun with kind of altering things with that one. So lunch for me, so I'm kind of working backwards in my day. Soup. So how do I do soup? Well, first of all, the savory rice and chicken, I love this one. I know there are people that don't like it, but if I were to compare this to the chicken noodle option, I like this one way better than the chicken noodle. I'm not even sure if they still have the chicken noodle, but obviously that one's there because I got that. But what I really love, the mashed potatoes, and what I do is I add extra water to them and then I eat it as soup. So I got 2 of the sour cream and chive and 2 of the roasted garlic. These are like my go-to lunch. That is another thing that I absolutely love. I could do it all the time. Great. Then I have a breakfast is oatmeal. So I have 2 of the apple and cinnamon oatmeal and then 2 of the maple and brown sugar. Those are go-tos for me every morning. It's perfect. And then I also got 1 box each of the golden pancake and the golden chocolate chip pancake. Again, this is the second version that I know of. When I started Optavia in 2022, they've changed the formulation. So partway through my first round of Optavia, they changed the formulation of the pancake, and I wasn't crazy about the new formulation. It seemed quite a bit drier, so I stopped using it as just a pancake or a waffle and started mixing it with, like, I would mix this with the brownie or something else, and then I'd make 2 fuelings out of that, and that seemed to help cure the problem with it being really dry. But this is what I got for my first month. So that is my unboxing, and I'm going to share with you I'm going to put these all back in the box, and I'm going to share with you some of the tools that I think are extremely useful when you are doing 5-in-1. Organization is super important to me, and leaving the fuelings in those boxes is fine when your box first arrives, but as you use the fuelings and the boxes get emptier and emptier, they take up a lot of space. So instead, I bought a bunch of these clear plastic type bins. They actually are like the perfect size for the fueling envelopes, and I just kind of divide them. So I put the bars in one, I put all of my breakfast things in one, all of my shakes in one. I just kind of have them divided, and then they can sit on the shelf and be super organized. Another thing that's really important is getting in enough water. So it is recommended that you try to drink a gallon of water a day. So I recommend a 40-ounce tumbler, and then your goal is to drink 3 40-ounce tumblers throughout the course of the day. Now, how you choose to do this is up to you. I drink straight water, and that is best to not drink other things, but straight up water or seltzer is okay. For some people, it does cause bloating, but that is a good thing to do. My goal was always to get 40 ounces down by 9 o'clock in the morning. It's really not as hard as you think it is. If you always have this cup with you, and my husband will tell you, I don't go anywhere without my water cup. A couple of times I have forgotten it, and I feel like I've lost a part of myself if I don't have it. So I try to get the first 40 ounces down by 9, the next 40 ounces down by noon, and that means I'm 2/3 of the way through my water goals by noon. And then that last 40 ounces, I slow down because that way I'm not getting up 5 times in the middle of the night. I can then just sip on the last 40 ounces and get through to the end of the day before I go to bed. So that helps me to be successful. Doesn't have to be a Stanley, doesn't have to be thermal, it can be whatever you want. Get a 40-ounce tumbler. I also like to keep my coffee hot, and so just some type of a thermal coffee cup. This came in a 2-pack from Costco, not Costco, Walmart. So just get something that is good that helps to keep your coffee hot. I drink black coffee, I don't put anything in it. If you need to have creamer, you're gonna have to figure that out. I know that there are some options, and you can use creamers as condiments. If you want to use your condiments that way, that's up to you. Frankly, I would say if you don't like coffee black, then you don't like coffee. So learn to drink it black. Learn to enjoy the flavor of it. It really is very good. The other thing that is important to me, so I said I like to do oatmeal and the potatoes as soup or the wild rice and chicken soup. I like to do those every day for lunch and breakfast and lunch, which means I need to keep a couple of things hot, especially if I'm not going to be at home during the day. In the morning then, I will, first of all, an electric kettle is probably the most used appliance in my house. I use it all the time and not just for Optavia, so it gets used for tea, and other times when I need hot water fast, it heats up really quickly. This is an Amazon Basics. I've had it since 2022 and it's still going strong. Hopefully, now that I say that, it's probably going to die on me tomorrow. But definitely worth the cost at Amazon. And by the way, all of the things that I have that I'm showing you, I'll have each of those linked in the description box down below. I don't have an Amazon store, so it's not making me any money. I don't have the time to get that set up, but I did want to share the links in case you're interested in purchasing these things. Then I like to have a way to keep things hot. So this is an iron flask, 13.5-ounce food jar, so thermal food jar. This is another one. I don't even know what brand this is. I actually just bought it. Also on Amazon, just another food jar. This one came with a foldable spoon. This one has the spoon in the lid, which is very helpful. And what I'll do is I will dump the fuelings into these and then add the boiling water, seal it, and then just let it sit. For the soup, I always just fill this with water. So it's way more water than the recipe on the envelope calls for, but it doesn't hurt to have more water. More fluid is good for you. For the oatmeal, I do stick pretty close to the amount of hot water it says, because I don't want my oatmeal too runny, but you can kind of play around with the amount of liquid that you put into it. So these are some more really helpful things. Then a lot of you are probably familiar with the Dash Mini waffle maker. So this is a mini waffle one. And then I also have the little griddle. So this one has flat surfaces. So you could do like a pancake without having to flip it over. Or I've cooked the brownie in there, the chocolate chip cookie I've done in there. You don't have to do it as a waffle, but because I like to batch cook things, I decided that this time I was going to get the Big Daddy, and this is also a Dash, but it has basically 4 of the mini dashes all in one. So I can cook 4 waffles, 4 waffled fuelings, all at the same time, and that is super helpful. One thing to keep in mind is that with the Fuelings, they do not have any preservatives. So if you are going to make them more than 24 hours in advance, make sure you pop them into a Ziploc bag and throw them in the refrigerator. You can also make Fuelings ahead of time and freeze them, but I will be doing some batch cooking for some of those things. The other dash thing that I have, which is a lot of fun, is the ice cream maker. So this is I think this is called the My Mug ice cream maker, and it comes in a few pieces. This inner portion needs to go into the freezer for at least 24 hours, super easy. And then when you get ready to make it, you'll mix up your shake, and you will add in the little beater in here, turn that on. It's just a few minutes, maybe 6 minutes that it takes, and it spins around. I've got a Fun with Fuelings video on making this, and you do, my recommendation is as soon as it's done, you scrape everything out and put it in a bowl to eat it from there, because if you leave it in the frozen container, it gets frozen really hard to the sides, and then you don't get the entire fueling. So I do recommend that you do that. Then there's some preparation things that I think are super helpful. First of all, a quarter cup, this is 4 tablespoons. It's a quarter cup, but 4 tablespoons, it's got tablespoon markings. I got this one at Walmart. You can also get, I have one that came from Pampered Chef as well. But this is super helpful because sometimes you need 3 tablespoons, and instead of putting in a tablespoon measure 3 times, just measure 3 tablespoons on here. It's so much easier. These little bowls also came from Walmart, super cheap, like maybe 50 cents a piece. These are great for mixing up fuelings, small size, they work really well. Small rubber spatulas, wherever you want to get them, these came from Amazon. And then a wire whisk is great for shakes, for if you like the hot chocolate or the cappuccino, any of the fuelings that you need to whisk up, like the potatoes as soup. Either just a wire whisk like this, which this came from Pampered Chef, but I'm pretty sure you can get them very similar to these on Amazon, and if I find it, I will definitely link it. And then this one is a battery operated one. This one I've had this one since I did Optavia back in 2022, so it has lasted, and we use this every single day because we put collagen peptides in our coffee in the morning, and this mixes it in. So this thing gets used every single day. It is a Zule little battery operated whisk, and honestly, these things right here, while like I said, while they're not necessities, I would not do Optavia without having these tools. So let's talk organization and preparation. But before I jump into how I organize and prepare myself, tell me what is one tool that you use in Optavia or on weight loss that you absolutely cannot live without. Of course, as soon as I said that, I realized there are 3 things that I didn't share with you, so I just jumped up and grabbed them, that I think you absolutely have to have. Food related is a food scale, because you will need to measure or weigh your lean and greens. I talk a lot about that in other videos. I will say I like to measure in grams over ounces. They're easier to multiply and divide because they're single numbers and not decimals. And then it's like 16 ounces to a pound, and so you have to remember that number as well. Whereas if you stick with just grams, it just makes life a whole lot easier. So this is a Taylor. I've used it so much and cleaned it so much that there's no printing on the outside anymore, but it does, it's great. It's a great thing. If you don't have a food scale, definitely get one. Also, it's very important that each week you are tracking your progress, right? So before you ever get started, you should make sure that you get your weight and your measurements. What I will say is, as much as you don't want to step on the scale, as much as you don't want to take measurements, and also taking pictures, so a front-facing, side-facing, and back-facing picture, as much as you don't want to do that, let me tell you how unbelievably encouraging it is when you get 10 weeks down the road, 20 weeks down the road, to be able to look back and put your pictures side by side. And even when you may not be feeling that you're making tremendous progress from 1 week to the next, when you can look back, it really does make a difference. Also, on the importance of pictures, when I first started losing weight on Optavia, I could see the numbers on the scale going down. I could see the numbers going down with my inches, but I didn't feel like I could see it physically when I looked in the mirror. But all of a sudden, I started noticing it on the back view of myself, which is really kind of strange. So, of course, I don't look at myself from the back, except when I would see those pictures. And I remember one time taking my pictures. I would always take them Monday morning, taking my pictures and looking at my pictures, and my husband was out in the garage. And I remember running out to the garage and showing him the picture and saying, look at this picture. Look at the difference in the side by side of my day one picture and whatever week it was. It might have been like week 6 or 7. I don't remember the exact week that it was, but super helpful. So don't neglect taking them. Even if you don't show them to anybody else, keep them for yourself. I promise you, you will be so happy that you did. Wear light colored clothing as opposed to dark colored clothing. So, you know, they always say dark makes you look slimmer, as I'm wearing all black today. The lighter colored, you'll be able to see the lumps and bumps in your clothing a whole lot easier in light colored clothing than if you were wearing dark colored clothing. So that's my recommendation. I always did it with my arms down at my side. I plan on doing that. But do make sure you take the pictures. Make sure that you measure yourself using a measuring tape. I would recommend, the way I do it is I use the word swatch, S-W-A-T-C-H. And that helps me to remember. S is for scale, W is for waist, A is for arm, and I always just did my left upper arm. I didn't do both sides. Most of us are fairly symmetrical, so if you measure your left arm, your right arm's going to be about the same. Just try to measure at the widest spot of your arm. T stands for thigh. Again, I always just did my upper left thigh, right where it's really kind of fat at the top is where I would measure. C is for chest, so the widest part of your bust. And then H is for hips, and again, the widest part of your hips. And write that down. Again, even if nobody else sees those numbers, you can see them and you can track your progress that way. For the scale, a digital scale is great. I would love to have one of those ones that has the thing that you hold on to and it measures body fat and muscle mass and all that stuff. And maybe I'll treat myself and get one at some point here. But for right now, just keeping an eye on the scale. Here's the thing. You guys all know I don't share my weight with anyone. The only person really that I share, there's a few of my family members that I may have at one time told how much I weigh. My coach knows and I know, and that's all that matters. What I share, what I choose to share with other people is how much I've lost. So how many pounds I've lost or gained or stayed the same and how many inches. Those are the numbers that I feel comfortable sharing. I don't feel comfortable sharing my actual weight, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. It's not a matter of shame. It is that I am a naturally heavy person. So I have a lot of muscle, which weighs more than fat. And I think that it sets people up. When you share, for me, when I hear somebody's weight, I look at them and I think, I can't believe you weigh that much. Or it doesn't always compute for me because our bodies are all so different. And so the number on the scale shouldn't matter to anybody else. What should matter is how healthy are we getting? Are we getting smaller? Are we doing things to increase our health? And so that's why I choose not to share my scale weight, but just my successes as I lose, which I will be doing. So let's talk organization. If you follow me on my Living in the Light page, or if you have joined the Optavia 5-in-1 newbies group on Facebook, and by the way, if you haven't joined either of those groups, please do. The more the merrier. Share with your friends. Those are both great communities of people that come together to support each other. I had shut down the 5-in-1 newbies group for a considerable amount of time, mostly because I just didn't have time to devote to it, and I wanted to make sure that I was not just, those of you who've been in that group know how important it is to me to follow the plan and not make a bunch of changes to it, because I think that's how we're going to be the most successful. And so I have guarded that very well with that group, and I did not want to turn it over to somebody else and have changes made to it. So I shut the group down, but it is back. And I hope that you, if you were in it before, or if you haven't been in it before, whether you're new to Optavia or you've been around Optavia for a long time, it is back and running. My Living in the Light Facebook group is my own personal journey, but I love for people to share on there as well. But if you've been there, you know that I share my weekly menu plans and my grocery lists each week. It is hopefully encouraging to other people, but that literally holds me accountable. Knowing that on Saturday morning, I'm gonna post that menu plan and I'm gonna make that grocery list, that holds me accountable for having a plan. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to plan. If you do not plan, you will not be nearly as successful as you will be if you will just take the time to plan. It takes me about maybe 10 minutes to write out this plan. And so I like to make it look pretty. This hangs on my refrigerator, and then I save all of these. I have all of my weekly plans from when I did Optavia the first time, every single one of them. I don't have the grocery lists, but I do have all of the actual plans. And what I do is I have day one, I put the date there, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then L and G for each one. And those are my 5 fuelings, and then my lean and green, what I'm gonna have for my lean and green goes down there. And so I've got my whole day completely planned out, my whole week completely planned out. I know exactly what I'm going to have. Now, I do move things around. I may decide I really don't feel like eating the chocolate chip pancake right now. I wanna do something else instead. Totally fine, but I have a plan. And not only, I'm gonna show you one other thing that I do to plan, but I make sure that I have this. And then I like to cook, so I typically do recipes for most of my lean and green meals. There is no shame in sticking to a salad with chicken and a good dressing on it. There's no shame in that. People who like to do that, totally fine. Sometimes I will just have tuna and cucumbers and tomatoes and have that as my lean and green, and that's totally fine too. So whatever works for you, but I do like to cook, and so making these lean and green meals feeds that part of my soul that loves to be in the kitchen, that loves to cook, that loves to feed other people. And frankly, my husband never complains about any of these recipes because they're all very delicious. So I go through and I write down what I'm going to have, and then I will look up that recipe. So this week, most of the recipes any of the recipes that I'm using came from Sandy's Kitchen. There are some things on here that are just my own, like put together kind of stuff, but what I'll do is I'll look at the recipe. I will write down all of the ingredients that I need, every single ingredient, whether I have it or not. It goes on, and I have a grocery list. So all of the items go on the grocery list, whether I have it or not. So all of the proteins, frozen food, produce, dairy, canned foods, miscellaneous seasonings. So I even have salt, pepper, olive oil, and nonstick spray on here. And I have my grocery list. And then what I will typically do is I will just put a little mark, like a dot. I didn't do that this week, but those of you who've seen my previous list, I'll put a little dot next to things that I already have on hand. So when I went to the grocery store this time, I actually had all of my proteins in the freezer. I had all of my frozen things except for green beans, which I picked up at Costco today. I picked up most of the produce, some of the stuff I had. I picked up most of the dairy. I had all the canned ingredients. I have all of my spices. I typically have everything. And then anything that's miscellaneous that doesn't fit into any of those categories. And then I always plan extra things for my husband because he doesn't follow 5-in-1. And so he needs, you know, foods for snacking on or for lunches or extra starch that I add to dinner. So I have rice and potatoes and things like that that I'll add to my grocery list. I usually do those in a different color because I share these recipes. And so this week his is in purple and it says for David. And so anything that's in that color is not for me, it's for David. But that just lets you all know when you look at my menus that all of the stuff on there is not necessarily for me. The last thing that I do for preparation, other than meal prep or fueling prep, which I do also do, is I pull out all of my fuelings for the week. So you saw me go through my box. I took a moment and I did this, and I have a Ziploc bag for every day, Monday through Sunday, because that's how my week runs. My day one is always on a Monday. Not everybody does it that way, but that's what works best for me. And I put all 5 of my fuelings into the bags so that I have everything ready to go. So tomorrow morning, when I get ready to start, I will pull out my Monday bag and everything that I need is ready to go. Typically, first thing in the morning, I will make my oatmeal and make my soup. So I will boil the water, get those 2 set aside because that is fueling number 2 and fueling number 3. Fuelings number 4 and 5 are often ones that I will pre-make ahead of time and have in the refrigerator. I have not done that yet. I probably will do some prep stuff this afternoon. That remains to be seen. I may just wing it for a couple of days and just get myself back into the swing of things. But this is really important to me because, and I think it's a very important step. It literally takes me 5 minutes to pull all those fuelings because I have my menu plan, I have my meal plan, and I just whip through and drop my bars in there, drop my brownies in there, drop my soup in there, drop my oatmeal in there. I just get everything dropped in and I am good to go. Super easy. It makes life so much easier, so much less stressful if you know what you're doing. So finally, the last thing I wanted to do was just to talk about, I told you I was going to tell you about my infamous Optavia video. And that is my video that probably has, aside from some of my meal videos like my cauliflower pizza crust recipe, and there's some other ones of my videos that have had a lot of views on them. The one that I did at the end when I was done with Optavia was kind of a Optavia revealed good, bad, and ugly. It also has had the most views recently, aside from the one that I posted the other day. I wanted to just address that and say that that video is completely truthful. I do not regret or take back anything that I said. I don't think I ever said that the program was bad because I don't think that it is. It saved my life. It is the program that I was able to lose over 160 pounds and where I found happiness. And I still believe that there are some issues. My plan to avoid those issues is to not be on the program for a long-term time period. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is do a 6 weeks on, 1 week off kind of thing because I'm concerned about my metabolism. I'm concerned that eating 1,000 calories or less a day for a long period of time can train your metabolism that is what it needs in order to survive. This is based on my personal experience with my body and what I experienced after over the last 2 years since I stopped Optavia. So I just want to clarify that. That video will stay up because I believe everything that I said in that. I agree with everything that I said in there. And I have to watch out for my body. I am coming back to Optavia because if you've been around, you know, I've tried it. I've tried it all. I have tried everything to stop the weight gain and nothing seems to be helping. So I'm going to go back to Optavia and just try this out and see what happens. So I cannot tell you how encouraged I am by all of the support that you guys have given me over the last couple of weeks. And just in the last few days since I said, I'm going back to do this again. And the number of people who have rejoined the Optavia Newbies group, the number of people who have messaged me or commented privately, publicly to say, we're behind you, we are going to join again too. And I will tell you right up front, right now, I will not be a coach again for many reasons. One is I'm not a good coach. So yeah, everybody says, oh no, I wish you were my coach. Yeah. Let me tell you, I'm not a good coach. I don't like to call people on the phone. I avoid that as much as I possibly can because I have to do it for work. I'm just not a phone talker. I just am not good at checking in with people. It's just not in my nature. I love talking to people on social media. I love helping on Facebook. I love doing my Optavia videos. That thrills me, but being a coach does not. Also, being an Optavia coach, Optavia says what you can and can't say. Optavia says you have to put disclaimers on things. Optavia says you can't use the Optavia name on your Facebook groups. And so I'm not going to be an Optavia coach because I don't want Optavia telling me what I can and can't say. You guys know I'm real. You guys know that I tell you the truth. I tell you my truth, what I'm experiencing. I am vulnerable. I am completely open, and I don't want to have to say things a certain way or not say things because I am a coach. So as much as I loved the money that it brought into me, that's not worth compromising myself. So you guys know I am always here for you. I'm always here to encourage and support you. You guys are always there to encourage and support me. We are going to do this together, and I'm just really excited to see where this is going to take us. So I've kept you long enough this afternoon. I'm going to go edit this video and get it posted, and got a few other things to do around here today. It is a cold Sunday afternoon outside of Nashville, Tennessee, so I'm going to stay warm and edit a video and probably watch some YouTube videos, check up on Facebook. Please, again, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please leave me comments, encouragement. You know I am a words of affirmation girly, so I love those comments where you tell me you can do this, we're behind you, 100%, let's do it, let's go, I'm doing this too. I love to hear all of those things. And until I see you next time, please live in the light.